Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fings.
We're back, man. Episode 297.
Yes, sir.
Let's get right into it, folks. I know you got things to do. All right. Recently, they call this food digger scams, right? Restaurants creating fake dating profiles to drive business. This is pretty fucked up, man. This is pretty fucked up. Food digger scam. Beware of this new scam on dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. It's basically a new online scam has come to light. This time, scammers are playing Cupid and raising the bottom line of restaurants. Read to find out more. Got a match with a hot girl on a dating platform. The girlie only readily agrees for the first date, but she wants to go to a particular restaurant, bar, or club only. If this sounds familiar, you have been hit by the food digger scam. The modus operandi of the scammers is simple. They honey trap easy targets on dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, and more. On any dating app, women get 100 times more matches compared to men. Getting dates for women is easy. However, for men, it's like a game of roulette. So what they do is there's a few women got busted, but they're mainly preying on men, which I think is really fucked up.
Yeah.
They're creating fake dating profiles, and they're driving business because once the guy gets to the restaurant and he gets stood up for the date, he's like, fuck it, I'll order something. So
I'm already here. I was waiting to eat anyways.
Yeah, I might as well drive. I might as well, let me get a 10-piece wing. That's fucked up, dude. It's genius, but it's fucked up.
Yeah.
I think you got to catch it, man. You got to be able to catch it while you're on these apps, which, first of all, it's no point of being on dating apps. There's no point no more. But especially if they're specific, like, yeah, we should try Jesse's wings. Their wings are really good, and they're really crispy, and I love their potato wedges.
It just sounds too fishy.
It sounds like a fucking marketing scam.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, okay.
Because I'm no Eddie. Eddie would be like, meet me at BJ's. And she'd be like, and then the dating profile or whatever would be like, no, I want to go to Just Wing It or something like that. And he'd be like, nah, we could go to BJ's. And he'd be like, nah, I think we should go to Just Wing It. Then y'all get into an argument. And then you just end up at Just Wing It.
I wouldn't end up there. If the thing is as a man, you have to have integrity. If you set a date, you don't just let a woman switch it. It's not like some misogynistic thing. It's like if I'm setting the date, it should be about meeting me. But if I set the plans and you say, no, we should go here, it's like, why are you switching up my plans that I created on the first date? That's weird. Plus, women don't respect that. If a woman could just tell you to do something and you just switch it up, they don't respect men to do that. They just don't. So you have to what do you call it? Set a precedent, right then and there. Like, hey, we're gonna go here.
Yeah.
And if she ain't with it, that's respect. I respect it, but I won't be taking you out anywhere. Yeah, this is fucked up, man. This is super fucked up. And the guy sitting there, and the funny thing is the owner of the restaurant, they probably got like 12 dudes that got stood up on a date.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, you need anything? He's like, I might as well get some. I got stood up on my date, bro. He's like, oh, we got the stand-up chicken wing special.
Yeah.
You might as well try the 10-piece stand-up. You be like, you guys got a special for niggas getting stood up? This shit is fishy.
We need to do that with the podcast. Like, we need a fake dating profile for the podcast to where it coerces people to listen.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of pissed off listeners. Yeah, they'd be like, hey, this motherfucker's tricked us into getting here. I thought I was getting pussy, but now I'm just getting two black guys on a podcast I don't want to listen to. What the fuck is going on?
That's crazy.
That'll be crazy. It'll be like we set up a bunch of hot chicks as bots.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, you know what? Like my favorite, and then on their profile is be like, my favorite podcast is the Trucker's Mind podcast.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of super hot.
And then what would happen is it would drive the men to listen because they want to be able to relate. Like, that's what I would do back in the day. Like, I would look at the profile, and then if I seen something particular, like about, their favorite movie or show, like something like that, then I would go watch, The Office or whatever, and then I would hit him with a little jokey joke and then act like I knew what was going on, but I really didn't know what was going on, and then from there. So I think that with the podcast, people would listen, and they would be like making little jokes here and there about the podcast, and then...
That's like almost coercing women, like when it comes to like, or tricking them when it comes to like on these dating apps. Like you put in your profile, like, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. And the girl's like, oh my God, I'm such a Taylor Swift fan. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yep.
I think Taylor Swift fan, they're going to test you, though. They're not just going to believe you saying that.
The thing with Taylor Swift is she got she got a she been around for a minute,
Yes, yeah.
since like who knows, maybe like 20 years in the game. So it's even if you did your quick little Google or quick little Wikipedia thing, they gonna hit you with something to where you really gotta be a real
No,
Swiftie.
a Taylor Swift fan, they gonna show up to the date with a Scantron and a motherfucking 20 quiz test about Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it right, they're like, you know what? We are never, ever, ever dating again. Never again.
Yeah, because you going to come in like only knowing about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, not knowing she got, years in the game.
She got real trivia for your motherfucking ass.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, remember those Scantron tests, dude? They still do that, I believe, right?
Yeah, they still have Scantron.
What's wild about Scantrons is you would think they would have moved past that technology by now.
Yeah.
But
it's just simple.
Yeah, apparently it's, pretty accurate.
I remember we used to be so scared that, if you didn't have a number 2 pencil, that the little thing wouldn't read your test properly. But yeah, it was always like, dang, is this a number 2 pencil? Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
I remember the number 2 pencils had like a little, it's like a little golden etched number 2.
Mm-hmm.
But we used to have pencil fights, right? And what I used to do on purpose before everybody found out, I used to get the Chinese pencils.
The Chinese pencils?
Oh, the Chinese pencils is way harder and thicker.
Yeah.
So whenever you be fighting, playing pencils with somebody, you just breaking their shit. Bow, bow, bow.
Yeah.
And so Eddie keeps breaking my pencils, man. He's cheating. I don't know what he's doing. And it's like, because this is from China, nigga. That's why.
We got to have a topic about pencils. Pencils was, how old was you when you was playing pencils?
Oh, fuck. 4th grade.
4th grade, getting it in. Yeah.
I was a heavy pencil player.
Yeah. Pencils, that was probably for me, like right around that 4th grade, 5th grade era. And it was like you said, it was people was running through pencils, bringing whole new packs of pencils to school just to get them broke up.
I'm telling you, bro, I would get the China pencils.
Yeah.
And the China pencils was the strongest ones. It was like you could feel how firm it was just like using it.
Yeah.
But the other, like the American pencils, you could feel it kind of bending a little bit. They had a lot more weight, like give, But yeah, that's a trip, man.
Yeah. They used to do, I know some of the homies used to be cheating where they'll like take the eraser out and then they'll bend the metal part around the eraser and then they'll bend it up a little bit and use that as almost like a kind of like a sword kind of thing. So it was like chopping through the wood a little bit. But yeah,
what?
You know how on the pencil on the end it's the wood.
Yes.
And then it's an eraser on the end.
Yes.
But in between it's like
clip.
a little metal like a little aluminum piece. They would take the eraser out and then bend that aluminum to where it's almost like a
shank.
Yeah. So they would like use that, and then when they hit the thing, it would like
slice it.
Yeah.
We didn't realize that we could have cut off somebody's finger with that shit.
Oh man, that stuff is probably dangerous.
We was doing some dangerous shit.
And they used to hurt. I know sometimes like if you play somebody really good
they miss your
and
finger.
you holding, that never happened to me, thank God. But like if you holding it, like it reverberates through your whole hand.
Yes,
so,
it did.
Yeah,
It fucking hurt.
Yeah, it's like hitting a baseball with a bat. You kind of feel that through your hand. So
yeah, and then also too, like back when I was growing up, before pencils was big, we was playing Pogs.
Yeah,
we was playing fucking Pogs, and we had slammers. We used to play Pogs and marbles.
Yeah, marbles.
Marbles is big, and
you was taking them to school.
Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. I had like a bag full of just these marbles, and I would like my flexes. I would show up to school with like different marbles and different designs, and we had some marbles that be like we called them boulders.
The big ones.
Yeah, the big ones. They was either the boulder, like the big clear ones, or it was a big like look like it was steel.
Yeah.
And we'd be playing marbles. I'd be just fucking people up.
Bro, I had the worst experience playing marbles.
What?
I remember my mom at the little Blackstone Market. In Tulare, she gave me, I don't know, it might have been like $2 or something to go get like a little bag. They had the bag at the
bag of marbles,
little at the liquor store. So I went there, and we used to play for keeps. So I buy the bag, I'm excited. I finally got some marbles. I could be like everybody else. And then we playing like on the apartment, like it's just like a little dirt field in the middle where everybody's like, not everybody, but it was just like me and this other guy we were playing. And he probably was a little bit older than me. And we just started playing, And then, you know, it was planned for keeps. So anytime he would knock, you know, one of my things off, he would just take that. And probably like 30 minutes after I got that bag, it was all gone. He beat me and he snatched all of my marbles. I was devastated.
I bet this is one of them times you just get your ass up. You got to move the fuck on.
As a kid, sometimes you don't know when to give up.
Yeah, I know. Back in the day with Pogs, we had what were called slammers, and they always had like your favorite cartoon on it. Mm-hmm. Like we had some that had fucking Alf on it and shit. Mm-hmm. Other ones had like Homer Simpson or whatever. Them was the days, man. The innocent days, way before social media.
Yeah,
but the fucking whenever you would go to school with like new shoes or new clothes on, you would get up in front of you would go to the sharpen your pencil and disrupt the whole fucking class.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember those hand crank sharpeners?
Yeah.
And it'd be like,
yeah. Yeah.
And you would sharpen it. I remember this one dude, he was sharpening his pencil so fucking much that he had a nub. It wasn't even a pencil. Yeah. Getting attention, like before getting likes on social media, sharpening your pencil was how you got a like in the 90s.
I used to hate getting new shoes because like niggas used to hate. Yeah. Because if you had, especially in the middle of the year, like you drew so much attention to yourself if you got new shoes.
You did.
Yeah, it's different. On the first day of school, everybody got new clothes.
Yeah.
But I think what I realized is probably the kids, they were like jealous or they didn't really understand how to, you know, articulate that they were jealous or envious of something that you had.
Step on your shit.
Yeah, step on your shoes. Yeah, I used to hate that, man. So for me, I never really, I think that kind of shifted my way of thinking about like newer things. Like I never wanted to go to school with new stuff. Like even if I did have new shoes, I kind of wanted them to be like worn down a little bit, like when I walked in, just so, you know, I wouldn't draw attention to myself in that way. But yeah, it was definitely kids that just they be haters, bro.
Man, you remember the electric pencil sharpeners too?
Yeah.
When you put your pencil in there, like, yeah. Eddie, your pencil sharp. Can you please have a seat? Yeah.
They would have a thing to where, I don't know if you guys had it, but it would sharpen it like that. So it'd be like, but then there was a slightly different sound when it was sharpened. Like it would stop sharpening the pencil when it was like when it got to a certain point. So kind of idle, if that makes sense. So it wasn't sharpening it still.
Nah, in the early 90s, we didn't have the high tech one, homie. You had the newer one.
So it's just gonna eat your pencil up.
We had the one that was like motherfucker sound like a 71 Cadillac.
Yeah. Yeah, the new, or I guess my era was like and it'd be like
Nah, not ours.
Yeah. Damn.
Not ours. Ours was the old ass one. I was in elementary when we still had fucking what rotary phones, man.
Yeah. Damn. You hella old.
Yeah, that was what, 94?
Yeah.
So yeah, some people still had we were still using house phones back then, bro.
Yeah.
So this is a different time.
It's crazy. My friend's mom, one of my friends, he got married. Tree's been on the podcast. Shout out to Tree. He got married. What was it, last week? No, it was a week we did the podcast early. Mm-hmm. So, I'm at the table and I'm sitting with my friend, his Chris and his parents and stuff like that. And his mom is like, takes a picture and she's trying to send it to me. So she's like, Keith, what's your number? And so she was like, I know I have your number because we've texted before and stuff like that. So so I was like, just pull up the contact on your phone and I'll see what number you have for me or whatever. So she pulled up my name and my number, and it was my old house phone number, like from when because the reason she had it is because me and my friend Chris, we ran track. So like back in junior high, like not 6th grade, but 7th grade, 8th grade, she would pick me up for a track meet or something like that. So she needed the house phone, like if she outside or whatever the case may be. So yeah, basically she had my old house phone number still under my contact in the phone. So I was like, dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, bro. People was really using them house phones. People was using pay phones too.
Mm-hmm. Payphones for sure. I was using a payphone.
Yeah, it's whenever I don't really ever see them anymore, but when I do, it's a reminder of how old I am, man.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, they're removing. There may be a one or two that's just like the casing of it around town, but
but they're pretty much all gone.
Yeah,
back in the day, we didn't have Google either, or we couldn't find people. We had to use the yellow pages. Mm-hmm. We had to hope we called the right number.
Have you ever looked somebody up like in the yellow pages? And
Fuck yeah, in the 90s?
And it been the right number?
Yeah.
Dang. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you got to understand, bro. You had that yellow book. The yellow book was right underneath the freaking, whatchamacallit. It's right underneath the payphone.
Yeah.
And it was connected with a latch. And you pull it open, but there's two reasons why they got rid of payphones. One of them was they draw way too much bad attention because it would be a lot of people asking for change because you was putting change in the machine. So they'd be like, "You got some change, man?"
Like, no, man, I'm trying to call my ride.
Yeah, that's back in them pager days too.
Yeah, man, things was so different, dog. Like I could remember, like that time between when I would call my mom or call my dad to pick me up. And them getting there, it was just unknown. You know what I mean? Like now, like, hey, mom, how far are you out? Or like, you maybe have like somebody's location so you know when they'll get there. But back in the day, bruh, it was literally like, man, I may be at the public library or something. Like, hey, mom, can you come pick me up from the library? And knowing her, she procrastinates. So she could take 30 minutes to get there, and I'm just sitting outside of the library and it's closed and everybody done left, and you just don't. It was just so much unknown when you had to like, wait for different rides and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, good times, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, freaking. I don't know how we jumped off of the main topic this much, but yeah, man. I don't know how old you guys are. We actually seen the analytics. We got a lot of people around our age that listen. Mm-hmm. I think it's 28 to like 35, which is that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I think there's a few 40 something year old people here. Mm-hmm. You guys are really fucking old. No, I'm playing. All right. Switching gears. Let's go ahead and move on. You got Matt Rife responds to domestic violence backlash from Netflix special. If you don't know who Matt Rife is, he is a stand-up comedian. He was on shows such as Wildin' Out years ago, and he's been doing stand-up for quite some time. But he found some newfound fame recently from TikTok clips. He was putting up clips, especially during the pandemic, and a little bit after the pandemic, and he was doing like stand-up and putting up clips. Mind you, prior to that, he had been doing work, and he had been working actually on his physical appearance. Dude got his teeth done and got in some shape, and I think he did a little bit of cosmetic surgery to his face too. But basically, women started to really like this dude. Like, he's charismatic on stage. I would say he's more charismatic than funny, but he's very charismatic, and because women find him conventionally attractive, he start having a big draw of women who loved his stand-up, who shared his stand-up, who came to his shows and all of these things. And what I've learned over time is that when women tend to adore men, they kind of have an idea, or they have an idea or perception of what that person should do or say, right? And when that person goes against the grain, now everybody's shocked by it. Mm-hmm. So I'm just prefacing everything I'm about to say with that. Mm-hmm. Let me read the article. Dun, 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 dun. All right, Matt Rife. Matt Rife responds to domestic violence backlash from Netflix special Joke. And it says, comedian Matt Rife responds to controversial joke in his debut Netflix special, Natural Selection, has only led to more criticism. In the stand-up special, which was released on November 15th, Rife opened up with a joke about domestic violence to test if the crowd would be fun or not. Rife, 28, was met with criticism and posted a fake apology on Instagram story on Monday. If you ever been offended by a joke I've told, here's a link to my official apology. He wrote alongside a link that led to a website selling special needs helmets. Right? So he's a comedian, right? And I think what happens too is comedy is the only place where political correctness or this whole idea of, you shouldn't say this or you shouldn't say that or body shaming here or you shouldn't do that I
think we should play the joke.
Yeah, if you got it.
Yeah, I found it. But you could keep talking. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no. But yeah, it's the only place that has not been infiltrated by political correctness. When you go to a comedy show, you don't look to see political correctness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, comedians are talking about like punching your grandma in the head while she sleep. And people find it funny because it's so fucking wild. And when we go to the office or we go to wherever we're going in life, we can't say things or do things like that because people will frown on it. Mm-hmm. But when you go to these comedy shows, you kind of go to decompress. Because everyone's offended by shit or they're angry about this or that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we need to protect comedians, even if it's certain things that we may not like. Like even Louis C.K. said nigger in a joke, right? And I'm like not a fan of it, but I'm not mad at him.
Yeah.
Because he found a satirical way to use the word nigger in a way where we're like, oh, wow. Like he found a way, he found the wordplay surrounding the word to make it, I could see why somebody would laugh at that joke. Mm-hmm. And some people were like, wow, as a black man, why are you okay with that? And it's like, in the guise of comedy, if it's not lazy, then I don't think it's racist.
Yeah.
If it's like, guess what? Seen two niggas sitting on the porch. It's like, okay, this guy's a fucking racist.
Yeah. Comedian brains be different. You can't really, I seen some people like, kind of like going at Chris Rock. And, I don't know if I would be able to just like sit there while people saying the N-word like that, but
right.
But yeah, comedians, they brains is different. It's funny. It's kind of like funny over everything. But yeah, so I don't know. I found the clip though.
Go ahead.
Let me see.
Bro, Maryland as a state cannot pick a tone, dog. Just pick one. It's so beautiful and so ratchet for no reason. Can y'all just pick a tone, man? All of Maryland, y'all will drive to the beach with your top down and then go to Baltimore and lock all your doors, dude. Like, no middle ground ever, man. I've only been to Baltimore one time. I ate lunch there, and the hostess who, seats you at the restaurant had a black eye. A full black eye. And it wasn't like, what happened? Yeah, it was pretty obvious what happened. And we couldn't get over the fact that we're like, this is the face of the company? Like, this is where you have greeting people? And my boy who I was with was like, yeah, I feel bad for her, man. I feel like they should put her in the kitchen or something where nobody has to see her face, And I was like, yeah, but I feel like if she could cook, she wouldn't have that black eye.
Yeah, Matt Rife is a guy that I could see why people laugh at. I just wasn't that funny to me. It wasn't that it was just lazy. It sounds like something I heard at an open mic a million times, right? Yeah. But being objective, there are comedians right here in town that I find more funnier than Matt Rife, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like Chris Flail is funnier than Matt Rife. I feel that Daniel Betts is funnier than Matt Rife. But my thing is I'm not trying to pit comedians against each other. What I'm basically saying is that Matt Rife, due to his conventional attractiveness, women came out to the shows and they amplified this dude's career big time. And he played into it. Like, he knew what he was doing. Some of the over-the-top sexual stuff he was saying or his pandering to women during his sets. Mm-hmm. And they made this guy famous. And because he didn't say exactly what you wanted to say, now there's a problem. Mm-hmm. Like, women objectified this guy. They genuinely did. Mm-hmm. There was women screaming while he was on stage. They were like, fuck me, like in the fucking crowd. Mm-hmm. They treated Matt Rife more like a R&B singer than a fucking comedian.
Yeah.
Because women don't hold Joey Diaz and Shane Gillis to the same standard. Mm-hmm. And it's because they don't find those guys conventionally attractive. Mm-hmm. I think that when people are attractive, we start turning them into what we want them to be.
Yeah.
Like, we do this with women all the time. I feel like Matt Rife has experienced what women go through when they get breast implants and BBLs. they start to get attention for what they look like rather than any substance that they have.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening. I think that Matt Rife is getting extremely objectified, and a lot of his popularity is coming off of that rather than just being strictly comedy. However, he is very charismatic, but the charisma that he's exhibiting with the crowd and whatnot, it's like real smooth talk. You know what I mean? It's like a lot like, yeah, how's your day going? Oh, okay. So you having a good time? Are you playing with yourself or anything? Like that's the type of comedy that Matt Rife is displaying, which is not bad. But if you guys watch his stand up, you'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I personally thought that joke was pretty funny. It's just it's not like I wouldn't say it's the most creative.
It's not groundbreaking comedy to me.
Yeah, it's just the opening joke to his set in the special.
Right.
It's kind of gotten blown up more than it probably more than he even expected. But yeah, I thought the joke was funny. I will say that I think that there is some merit to him just being this attractive guy that was doing stand up, and he got popular after posting a bunch of stuff on TikTok. But I also don't want to discredit him, like the amount of work that he's put in.
100%.
Being on Wild 'N Out, and if you're on Wild 'N Out, that means that you probably have been, running the LA comedy scene, or you've done enough to get on Nick Cannon and the producers of Wild 'N Out's radar. So I just want to say he's, I know that he's put in a lot of work to get where he's at. And I think, as far as it's funny, I don't really have a comment about how funny he is compared to anybody else. But what I will say is that I think that these women probably feel like they got hoodwinked because they're showing up to this comedy show based on them just being attracted to Matt Rife. And they're getting there, thinking that because you like him and because you like some of his stuff that he's posted on social media, that he's supposed to think the same way that you do. And that's just not the case. Like, as a comedian, it's like, the thing that he's aiming for, he's not even aiming to offend people. He's just looking for the shocking and funny, takes on whatever whatever situation he is in his day-to-day life. And in that situation, it just so happened to be, the one time he was in Baltimore or whatever the case may be. So I just think that, like, comedy is a space where it's not for your political takes. Like Eddie said, there's a joke that Louis C.K. has where he's actually saying the word nigger in there, and it's a really good joke. You know what I mean? And we can choose to be offended, or we can just appreciate it for what it is. And I think that there's a lot of people, especially nowadays, that don't really they're getting offended by that joke.
Right.
The black eye joke, and her being a better cook, and she wouldn't have the black eye. They're getting offended by that joke. They'll be hard pressed to go any further back in history and be able to sit through 30 seconds of some of the comedians that, like the Eddie Murphys and the Richard Pryors and these guys, they was saying some wild stuff back in the day. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I love the fact that he doubled down on it. Like he was like, if anybody's been offended by any jokes on my thing,
special needs helmets.
I think that's dope. And I like that Netflix is supportive of just comedy.
Yeah.
And they don't try to cut out people's jokes and try to be too politically correct and all this stuff. And I don't know from what I've seen, it looks like, I don't know if he got a co-sign by Dave Chappelle, but I seen he kind of shared a stage with Dave Chappelle. So
yeah,
I think that's a big deal for him.
The scary thing about comedians is the fact that there'll be a whole bunch of events going on in the world, and they're truth tellers. A lot of comedians will be truth tellers under a satirical tone. Mm-hmm. So it could be something going on with the war in Iraq or whatever, and they'll tell a joke and people will laugh, but there's validity behind it, especially when they've taken time to craft this joke, right? So I didn't get that brilliance from Matt Rife, right? And I'm not saying he's trying to be that guy, but to get back to him, what happens though, what I've noticed is this: women don't objectify men generally. They don't. You know, I would say men are more guilty of that. Men will just see a chick walking down the street. She might even be like a real big girl, and they'd be like, "Yeah, she big, but she got some big titties." Like that's how men are. Like men be objectifying women for no reason, right? Women don't do it, but they objectify men that they view as the top guy. Like if you're the top guy, they're gonna say some wild shit. A woman will say she wants to fuck somebody right in front of her husband. They'll be like, "Oh my God, the Rock is so hot. Just 5 minutes with him, I swear." And you'd be like, "Your husband's right there. What the fuck are you doing?" But they objectify the top guys. Matt Rife is viewed as one of the top guys, right? So what happens is when they are objectifying, then they start thinking he's our comedian. Yeah. The only reason why there's an issue with the domestic violence thing is because domestic violence is synonymous with women being beat. And why would this be an issue? A primarily women audience. That's why it's a problem. Otherwise, it's all kind of comedians that talk about women getting punched in the face. No one cares. When you're not viewed as a sex symbol, no one cares about your domestic violence jokes. They laugh at them. Even women are busting up laughing. But whenever you are a person they view as this hot dude, like imagine this. Think about this. Think about this, Keith. When have you ever heard Usher say anything negative about women in the history of his career?
I haven't.
You haven't. And you won't either. Why do you think that is? Because he knows who the fuck pays. Women run that man's career.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's be very motherfucking clear. You will never hear him say like, women got to get it together, man. They got to work. You know, women got to do that. You will never hear Usher say a bad word about women ever. He knows what's up. Who's another dude that's his career?
He says it indirectly, though.
What do you mean?
Don't leave your girl around me, true player for real. That's my nigga for real. He basically saying like, you know, your girl's a cheater, and I'm gonna expose her if that does happen.
Girls are still dancing to it. They be like, I would fuck him too. Yeah, you'll never get a bad word out of him. When have you ever heard Genuine say anything bad about women? You never will. Women run these men's careers. And when women know it, they will act like it. So Matt Rife has to also understand that when he leans into this edgy shit, he has to also understand that he was pandering to these women at the same time. You can't just see here. This is how women are. When you behave a specific way from the very beginning and you don't deviate from that, women respect that. But when you playing and you're playing into it, and now you want to get edgy, women don't respect that. You get what I'm saying? So if you're the guy that's like doing the little, you know, the charismatic stuff, and you like the fact that there are a bunch of women there, and you know, you take your shirt off and all this little shit that you're doing, you know what you're doing, brother. You know what you're doing. And then when you crack the domestic violence joke, it's kind of like not a slap in their face, but it's almost like, yep, you got me here, but I'm still going to comedian. And I don't blame him, but two things could be true.
Yeah.
He's a comedian. He's got to do what he needs to do. But it's also true that women got you there, bro. Even though you've been doing the work a long time, a lot of your newfound fame came from the fact that women came out in droves to watch you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I feel like Matt Rife, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Don't be worrying about like pandering to people. I think the people that don't pander end up being the ones that last in the long run. Yeah,
well, Matt, you better be good, brother. You better be real motherfucking good going forward, because if women unsubscribe to you and there was a lopsided amount, I've never heard men come to me like, yo, Matt Rife is hilarious, dog. I love Matt Rife. It was always women. Whenever I heard anything about Matt Rife, it was women every fucking time.
Yeah.
Like you'd be sitting there having some lunch, or you taking a girl out. Like, have you ever heard of Matt Rife? It was always women.
They brought Matt Rife up to you?
Yeah.
Dang.
And it's because I'm not stupid. You want to fuck Matt Rife. It's cool. Like, it's cool. Like, I don't care about you anyways, but it just,
Start calling him Matt Pipe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, bro. There's literally, like Matt Rife even talked about it. There are women at his shows screaming out, fuck me, at his shows. That's not what you are, like, that's never the energy you get at most comedy shows. Usually it's centered around a comedian telling stories or crazy one-liners, and they got everybody busting up laughing.
Yeah.
It's not like some motherfucking...
Yeah, he's just he's a sex symbol.
It's wild, man.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see how it ages. I got respect for Matt at the same time. I think he's lived two lives, man. He's lived life as that dude with the crooked teeth that's not in very good shape. You know, you see the old videos of Matt Rife beforehand. I'm not trying to judge him, but that's not what society views as conventional attractiveness.
Yeah.
And then he goes from that, dude got his teeth done, his face done, he's hitting the gym. Self-improvement should always be applauded. Always. Yeah. But now Matt knows how it feels to be a woman that got titties or a BBL. You get all the attention and it's coming from being objectified. That's what we got.
Yeah. He don't seem to be too mad about it.
Nah, he got $20 million from that shit.
Yeah.
So, hey, man.
Yeah, more power to you.
More power to you, Matt. But stop replying to all those comments, man. That dude be in the comments like a motherfucker.
Really?
Arguing with fans.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
It's not a good look, bro. It just makes you look very insecure. You've amassed this success. Yeah. It's like you got to see it and just keep it. Because me and Keith had that viral post that's over 1 million something now. And there's some people saying, why? Like at first it was like, you know, people being witty and cracking jokes and a little bit of like just cool shit. And then it got weird.
Yeah.
It's like, man, Keith and Eddie ain't got hair on their legs.
Like, on their arms.
You know, you got
like
hair
when
on
did
their
men start shaving their arm hair?
Yeah, it was weird. It's like Eddie and Keith don't got hair on their arms. I'm like, what's wrong with this nigga?
Yeah.
Why are you looking at us this close?
Yeah.
That was weird. Somebody called him out for it too.
Yeah, it was a few people.
Yeah, it's like, nigga, you weird. You looking at their arm like this. That's the scary thing about becoming pop. Me and Keith got a fractional look in what it will be for us when we really get there.
Then there was somebody coming to bat for us that was he wasn't even black. He was like, yo, I just think that, you know, sometimes black men don't grow arm hair. And we like, what? like I got hair on my arms, bro. It's just like, you know.
Yeah, it's weird.
We don't got no IMAX camera, so you probably can't see everything.
Right. The camera quality is pretty decent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was just weird that you mentioned the arm hair out of all things.
Yeah.
It just gives you an idea of like whenever you become this thing, like I've seen some comments in Joe Rogan's and it's like, and it's this weird shit. It's like, I'm pretty positive Joe supports Palestine because of this, that, and that. It's like, you trying to get this man to support Palestine or Israel in the comment? It's so weird. People are so weird.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah. You gotta be ready for it.
Yeah, you gotta be ready for it. I think for me, I think that what I'm gonna do is I like to see constructive stuff. Like if they're like, hey, I feel like Eddie and Keith could have talked about this maybe a little bit more at the top or whatever. I'll hit the like button like, hey, man, appreciate the feedback, you know? But once it gets weird, like, I bet you Keith got a big old booty. I'm like, hey, what the fuck is this? I'm about to flag this dude's comment, man.
Yeah.
You had this guy investigated, bro.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That nigga's getting blocked for that.
I'm sitting down. You should not be talking about my booty.
Nah, it'll be like, I bet you when Keith get up from that seat, he thick.
That's crazy.
Like, y'all tripping, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow.
There's that, man. Let's switching gears. Switching gears. Kim Kardashian is GQ's Man of the Year. This is the most confusing fucking thing ever. It just, we got to stop this shit, man. We got to stop this. All right. Oh, God. What's it say? Kim Kardashian is the man, end quote. The reality star and entrepreneur has been named one of GQ's Men of the Year. She announced on Instagram Kardashian graces the magazine cover as more specifically Tycoon of the Year, posing with a tie and a bag of Cheetos. She was joined by Mama Girls Kris Jenner and sisters Courtney and Chloe for the interview, which covered a wide range of topics from her Skims business to family and her late father, Robert Kardashian. Okay, here's my problem, okay? With all due respect to women, I think women and men need to stay in their lane, respectively. This shit is getting old. If we get to a point in time where we're not even blurring the lines anymore. Kim Kardashian is not a man. You need to be on a woman's. First of all, she's getting GQ Man of the Year for her brand Skims, which is like for underwear, right? Mm-hmm. And it's wild. Like, why would you want to step into that lane? You actually, if you were supporting women, I guess, because she also says things under the guise of supporting women. Why isn't your Skims brand under the WNBA? It's under the NBA. Mm-hmm. I think she had Nick Bosa wearing her fucking underwear too.
Yeah, it's like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, so you got male athletes wearing it, but not women. That makes sense, right?
No, it's women wearing. It's not in the WNBA, but it was a women's brand first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but not just that. But the cover of it is weird. She's got a suit with messy hair and a bag of Cheetos. Is that the depiction of men? Like, what is that? Mm-hmm. That's not good. Because imagine if my black ass got Woman of the Year and I put a fat suit on and a hot dog and some clown makeup on. They'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
It's just weird all the way around. We got to cut this bullshit out. We got to stop it. It needs to stop now. Mm-hmm. Because it's too much. First you got, what's her name? The other Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner. Get Woman of the Year. You want to know the highest level of the patriarchy, Keith? The highest level of the patriarchy is being a man, transitioning into a woman, and then saying you the Woman of the Year. That is the highest fucking level of patriarchy ever.
Yeah.
Men will never know what it's like to be a woman. Never. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. Women have their own struggle and battles that they go through. Only they will understand that. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just weird that we want to blur these lines. We got to cut this shit out. Every time a woman gives birth, they could fucking die, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, they literally could die. I will never say that I'm a woman. Never. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that I can do that a woman can do in regards to birthing and going through the periods and all that. Bro, that shit is different, dog. Mm-hmm. It's different.
Yeah.
Like, when women on their period, I just try to stay out the way, bro.
Good luck.
Yeah, I just try to stay out of their way, bro. Mm-hmm. That's it. Unless you got like some snack in your hand or something, stay out the way. Or some Midol or something like that. Mm-hmm. Just, yeah. But no, man, this shit is weird. That's the reason why I really felt the need to bring it up.
Yeah.
Not just that, but I don't know. Me and Keith try to look to see where she was going as far as with the Cheetos and the suit. In the suit with the tie and the messy hair. I guess it's to say men is pigs. I guess that's the depiction. I don't know, man. There's some very weird liberal shit going on. Uh-huh. Yeah, you can always tell when something is... I'm not talking about OG liberal. Like, the liberals from the 90s was cool. But the new liberals is like, they got blue or green or orange hair. You know what I'm saying? They identify as something. It's like, bro, this shit is too goddamn much.
Yeah.
I'm the type of dude that stays out of it, bro. I don't tend to get involved, but at the same time, this is too much. It just is, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I was trying to look for, because I don't think that's the. I mean, you can interpret art however. I don't necessarily think that's what she was going for in terms of calling men pigs. What I did see that she actually likes not hot Cheetos, but she likes Cheetos, and I think that they were just trying to incorporate like something that she actually like to show her personality. And then I would imagine those suits and ties. That's probably like a reference to her to her father, Robert Kardashian. That's kind of what I got from it after doing a little bit of digging. But I just don't, like you said, I don't understand why they're in any way, shape, or form giving a woman Man of the Year. And like you said, they're just trying to push this they're trying to blur the lines these days. Like, you know, like why not give, I think it's kind of going back to like, you know, slightly before, like maybe a few years ago when they started doing like the stuff with the superheroes, like making certain characters black and making certain characters like even in Doctor Strange, I believe, like they turned one of the characters that was actually a man into a woman, and like they've been kind of like slow playing these like soft launching this type of stuff, and I think this is kind of like just the latest iteration of it. But yeah, it's just like you said, everybody should stay in their lane. There's a perfectly like we already understand that Kim Kardashian, like outside of genders, is like an amazing business person. You know, like her Skims is like, you know, having that sponsoring the NBA and having her logo on the floor, and then having all these huge athletes being, you know, wearing the underwear and stuff like that. Like that's a big deal in itself, and that's something to be applauded.
Right.
But I think that like having her be man of the, it's just kind of weird. Like I just don't understand why you can't just give her own space and her own platform outside of like making it a gender thing. Like I don't really understand that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that she's done enough to be applauded in this way. Right. I just don't understand like why she's the GQ Man of the Year when there's a lot of men that have done great things, and there could have been just something outside of this that they could use to promote her or give her her flowers.
I don't get it. It's bullshit. It's stupid. Men and women need to be in their own spaces. We got to stop doing this. We really got to stop. And I don't want to keep reiterating the same point, but we've just gotten to a point where it's too goddamn weird. Mm-hmm. It's too weird. And people got to start pushing back. Mm-hmm. They got to start pushing back. I don't want to, like, if I have kids, I don't want to be in a situation where they're like, oh, so do you want your daughter to compete with all the, you want your daughter to play on you want her to compete in the varsity men's wrestling team? Because it's like, no, I don't want her to do that. Mm-hmm. So she could get her neck snapped? No. There's a difference between us in general. But with the magazine, people are going to push back and probably say like, well, it's just a magazine. What's the big deal? The big deal is you literally put Man of the Year. You've discredited a lot of men who have done a lot of great things within the year.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like it's men out there that probably wasn't looking for that type of acclaim, but they probably deserve it. It's probably a man out there that's been feeding the homeless for 50 fucking years. You know what I'm saying? And now he's a CEO of a business, but he probably also feeds the homeless or whatever. And Kim Kardashian graced the cover instead of him. Like, there's all kind of great people doing things like this. It's probably, and I mean this both ways. It's probably a woman that owns a business and takes care and gives back to her community. She's been doing it for 35 years, whatever the case. And all of a sudden, you go to the Woman of the Year, and it's Caitlyn fucking Jenner on there. So that's the point I'm really trying to make. It's like people say, well, why would you say that she's not eligible to be Man of the Year? Because it's a man out there that's also done great things. That's actually a man. And the same thing I would say on the other end when fucking Caitlyn Jenner was on there. Mm-hmm. So it's like, dog, we gotta, I don't know, man. We definitely gotta stop this. Whatever this is, this needs to stop.
Yeah. It's only getting worse.
Yeah, it's getting worse. And where I am with it is this. I'm not the type of dude I'm not going to misgender people and be disrespectful and say, oh, you need to do this, or you need to do that. I'm not the type to do that. Only thing that I hope people understand is that when it comes to biology and things like woman, man, that we don't get these things confused. Mm-hmm. They say like, oh, it's a social construct. It's like, man, if you don't get the fuck out of here with that nonsense.
I don't have a comment about that.
Good. You said what?
I said I don't have a comment about that.
Yeah. There's that. All right, switching gears. All right. Melissa Barrera dropped from Scream 4.
That's 7, my bad.
Oh, 7.
Yeah.
You got me looking stupid as fuck because I don't know how to read Roman numerals.
Yeah.
Melissa Barrera dropped from Scream 7 after social media posts concerning Israel-Hamas war. Yeah. So, okay. Before I read this article, like we just recently talked about Kim Kardashian. And right now, the last statement I made, I don't think it made Keith nervous or anything. Or he didn't care. He just didn't feel to weigh in on it. Mm-hmm. Like, when people have conversations like gender is a social construct and all of this, you don't have to comment on that. Mm-hmm. I didn't even comment on it. I just said, please leave it alone.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing about it is when you weigh in on certain things, they can work against you, and you don't always need to weigh in on them because you could lose jobs. You could lose all kind of shit, which is case in point. Melissa Barrera dropped from Scream 7 after social media posts concerning Israel-Hamas war. She led both 2022 Scream and the 6th installment released earlier this year. Melissa Barrera is no longer starring in Scream 7. The actor was dropped from the project after a series of social media posts in the wake of Israel-Hamas war. Gaza is currently being treated like a concentration camp, she wrote in one of her posts on Instagram stories, concerning everyone, cornering everyone together with nowhere to go, no electricity, no water. People have learned nothing from our histories, and just like our history, people are still silently watching all this happen. This is genocide and ethnic cleansing, right? That's what she said. Now, let me tell y'all this. I think it's okay to have empathy, and it's also okay to have a heart for what's going on out there. But what you need to understand is you can still feel the way you feel without posting it. And here's why. When you are in the middle of Scream 7, right, and you got producers, writers, directors, you got all these people, right? I think that when you working in a space like that, everyone is not going to have the same opinions. But when anybody with an opinion or anybody that has an opinion opposite of yours that got more power than you, they could get your ass off of there. Once they know your political affiliation, if you say, hey, I'm conservative, or hey, I'm liberal, or I'm this, or I'm that could create a hostile work environment. Mm-hmm. It really could. And it's sad, but that's the world we live in. Being liberal or conservative should not drive a wedge between anything going on in a production. But we don't know how to work with each other in today's world.
But I just kind of got some new out of what you were saying. It may not even be, and who knows why she actually got fired or whatever. It may not actually be that the person that is the producer, executive producer, or running the production disagreed with her. It may be because she just shared her opinion, and it's like you said, it's creating a hostile work environment because we're in a group of like 50 people producing this movie, whether it's PAs or cinematographers, gaffers, all these different people, where we just want to shoot a movie about this person with a mask running around stabbing people. And when you start to like politically charge this thing, it kind of creates a different dynamic on the set. So yeah, that's just something that I don't know exactly if that's the case, but that's just something that I'm like, it may be a thing where it's like, hey, just don't say it while we're shooting this movie. Yeah,
we have to stop wearing all of our political affiliations and our political affiliations and opinions of certain conflicts on our shoulders. And I think that it's okay to have an opinion. However, sometimes we display it too quickly and we don't do it in the right context. Yeah, like I know I was having a conversation with this older man one time. I was fueling up at the end of work, and he was basically saying, yeah, this is the way this country's going, and this is why we gotta vote for Trump. We gotta get him back in there, this and that. And I'm thinking like, so within this conversation that lasted about 10 minutes, somehow you figure because we get along that I support Trump. That's what I'm trying to figure. Like, that's the sad thing about people, man. Their brain goes on autopilot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's weird. And I've had the same thing happen with very liberal people. Like, what's crazy about Trump and this and that? And I'll be thinking, like, you do realize that Biden has had some of the same offenses while he's been in office, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just say to anybody, like, we got to have a little more foresight. And I think Melissa Barrera, like, this has nothing to do with nothing, but I was at a film festival and she was in a short film, not a short, it was actually a feature film there. She was, I guess, I had never seen her before, but she seemed like when I actually looked her up, she was in a couple different things, and she's kind of like, you know, on the come up in terms of her career, starting to get more bigger roles, because that one was just not a short film, but a feature independent film that was shot in Las Cruces. You know, it seemed like real bare bones, you know, probably like a small production company put it together, and she was the leading actor in the film. So she's still on the come up. But to my original point, I think that when it comes to being in this space where your destiny is in someone else's hands, I think that it's okay to have an opinion as long as you're willing to stand on that. Mm-hmm. If you work for Disney or you're the director of this new Marvel movie or whatever, and you're okay with your career, you're okay with getting fired as the director, as a producer of, you know, certain project, and you're willing to stand on your political view of the George Floyd situation or the Palestine and Israel conflict or what's happening in Iraq or in Africa or whatever the case may be, then more power to you. But if you're in this space and we know that it's a struggle, we know that, you know, we all trying to make it out here, and we also know that, you know, even if you do have a couple roles here and there, you're not really set for life, because we've seen a lot of people that have Amari Hardwick talk about him having to borrow money from 50 Cent. And like, you know, you see these certain situations where they like, yeah, I've been on 3 seasons of this show and I'm barely, you know, able to make it, or I'm finally getting decent checks and stuff like that. If you're in that position, I think it's best for you just to not say nothing. And I don't think, you know, some people say like silence is worse than picking a side, or, you know, all these like cliches or whatever. But silence to me is silence. There is no statement in silence. And, you know, so I would say, you know, especially that conflict, because it's so tricky, and you do have people that are like that are really from Israel over here and really from Palestine and all these different things. And it's just so nuanced. And like we said before on a previous podcast, like, it's okay not to say nothing. And I think that these celebrities and these actors, they get in these positions to where they got a little bit of notoriety and they got 1 million followers on Instagram, and they feel like they got a little bit of a voice, and they feel like their work is, you know, on a platform where they can actually speak to a certain amount of people. But it's okay. It's the same thing like Dave Chappelle said, like, we don't care what Ja Rule has to say at a time like this. So, Melissa Barrera, more power to you. It seemed like you standing on your statement. But for anybody else that is like up and coming, whether you're a musician or an actor or a director or screenwriter or whatever, and unless you want to die on that ledge, it's best just to, you know, focus on your work and share your opinion amongst the people that you love and the people that you talk to one-on-one. But you don't have to share your opinion with the masses.
Being quiet don't make you fake.
Yeah.
Okay. People might say like, oh, you want to be quiet about it, this and that. You talking is not stopping that conflict. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like you literally, and some people listening might say, oh, it's kind of easy for you to say, shut up, and you're talking about it on your podcast. I'm not no activist. I'm a podcaster.
Yeah. So
it is what it is. I'm not an activist. I'm a podcaster. I don't even have an opinion about it because I don't fucking know enough. So even if I could freely display my opinion if I knew enough, but I don't.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I'm quiet about the shit. I don't fucking know enough.
And I'm not a person that looks to like somebody else for their opinion. You know, there are people that will hop online and they be like, like, you know, they was chastising J. Cole and Kendrick, like, when are y'all gonna say something about this?
Ridiculous.
I'm like, dog, these just human beings. Like, we don't need everybody's opinion about and like you mentioned before, like, this ain't moving the needle. Whatever Melissa Barrera has to say about what's going on in the Middle East is not going to change. They probably have never even heard of her. They probably haven't even watched Scream whatever. So it's just like sometimes you just got to weigh the pros and cons. And I think this is kind of like I had a different opinion, and then we won't really get into this situation, but you know, the whole Diddy thing came out, and there's been a bunch of allegations and stuff, and there were a lot of people that didn't say anything. Like it was a lot of like the bigger podcasts, like Joe Budden and Charlemagne and all these guys. They didn't really say too much, and I was like, "Dang, this is interesting." You know, like normally they would talk about certain things, but then I really started to think about it, and then on the back of this conversation, I'm like, "Cool, like don't say nothing," because you know who knows what's going to play out within the next couple years. Just imagine, you know, Diddy settles like he did. All of this stuff blows over. Diddy buys BET or some network or something like that. And then, you know, right when you getting ready to sign a deal, that clip that you had talking about Diddy in a disparaging way, it starts to go viral again. And then you lose out on a deal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Some people just need to shut up.
Well, truth be told, when you don't have fuck you money, you have to move quietly.
Yeah.
Not even quietly, you have to move strategically. However, you got to be careful because you don't want to be a person that has an extreme opinion about others, but when others come up, you don't say much. So that's where I kind of, and I got love for Charlemagne, I got love for Joe Budden, but y'all not keeping that same energy with Diddy, and it's a reason why y'all not doing it, and it's probably because Diddy might know something that could get you in hot water, and that's why you ain't talking.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say it's more it's a different power, right? So if somebody like, I don't know, Tax Stone and Joe Budden got a thing going. They going back and forth. Yeah. Tax Stone is in prison, and he ain't getting out no time soon. But Diddy has the power and influence. He has his own network, which, you know, both of them were on.
Revolt.
You know yeah, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't say that he knows anything necessarily, but I just say he got the power and influence to really make some stuff happen.
I know he knows something. And I'm going to tell you why I don't know it, but he has to. And here's why. A guy like Diddy that's got all these allegations, in order for him to do certain businesses, is a person that could do this in plain sight has to have leverages over other people in order to keep them quiet. That's the only way it works. It's like some mafia type shit. Like there's no other way. And I'm not saying like I know it. All I know is there's been some things that have came out about Charlemagne that are public knowledge. Not to say that he is guilty of it or not guilty of it. I'm not here. I don't know. All I know is that if you say the wrong thing and you got any dirt on you, all of a sudden it could be back in the news. People with power know how to get things back out there. Same thing with Joe Budden. There's some things that came out about him. And here's the thing. I'm not saying this to stir up anything. I'm a small-time podcaster, okay? If this reaches a ton of people, I'm not doing anything different than what they're doing because they get paid to talk about people. I'm not even digging remotely into anything they're doing because I don't know enough about them, right? But it seems that they really don't, because they love to make fun of a dude like Tyrese. Or they get Tyrese, was it Tyrese Gibson, right? They get Tyrese on there, it's all kind of jokes flying. But Diddy got all these wild allegations popping up, and it ain't much you can say. Yeah, you know how allegedly in one of those in the lawsuit, Diddy was hiring freaking escorts with big dicks to fuck her. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Allegedly, right? That's what was going on. And think about how wild that is, right? Allegedly, you hired escorts to fuck Cassie while you watched him beat your meat.
Yeah.
That was in the document that was settled, right? But there's not a lot of conversation there. But you got jokes for Tyrese, though.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another one. Fabulous, another one, allegedly was beating on his woman, right? Y'all had him on the show and never mentioned it one time. Allegedly her teeth knocked out. She replaced them. But y'all had him on the show and didn't say nothing about it. This is, you got to be careful whenever you make it to this level of celebrity that you got to keep the same energy. And sometimes when you don't got the fuck you money yet, you can't do it. Because I've noticed it, man. I've seen I've told you about it. Like a person like Lakeith Stanfield come on there and you crack jokes on him, you make fun of him, you got all these jokes about him. But somebody with real documented shit. And you treading lightly. I think what it is too, it's a different power too. Because if you do say something or you do imply anything, this person could do more than just motherfucking sue you.
They don't blow up your car.
Yeah, because allegedly, there's another one. Allegedly, Cassie was after she had separated from Diddy temporarily, was talking to Kid Cudi, and I think he had mentioned that he would blow his car up, and Kid Cudi documented that his car was blown up. Now he didn't say who did it, but he said his car was blown up. Diddy is on some mafia shit, man. Allegedly.
Yeah. It's tricky, man.
Yeah, it's tricky, man.
Yeah.
It's tricky. Yeah. I think the thing that fucked me up was the male escort thing. I'm like, God damn. Oh my God, this is bad. And shout out to Maul from Roy and Maul podcast. He said, like, yo, honestly, I think he did it.
Yeah.
And like, this is the thing. Maul is a dude that's kind of close to it. Like, he got family that's in the business. Right. And Maul was like, yo, I don't got no connections. Like, my thing is I move good. Like ain't nobody come at me with no, things about me in the past or how I treated women. I ain't got none of that on mine.
Yeah.
He's like, I move quiet. But only thing is, he got to be careful though, because I don't know if Maul got security. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you got to be.
Sometimes, it's cool to share your opinion, and I think it. You do. I don't think that that's a thing for me. Like keeping the same energy, just because it's nearly impossible. I just think that you got to pick and choose your battles, and I think that if you willing to stand on whatever you say, then that's fine. You can move however you want to.
Yeah,
but if you're gonna cry, if you're gonna cry wolf after something happened, then you might want to be, more selective with how you share your opinion.
I'm in a position where I don't spend too much time just talking crazy about people. However, if there was somebody that want to work with us, I tell them to their face. I'll be like, hey man, before we do anything, there was a podcast that I did. I called the game. I called you corny. I said you was sounding corny when you did X and Y. Or with Chris Brown, when I said, man, I don't care much to interact with a person like that. Dude that's always in shit and beating women and shit. I'm cool on that. But here's the thing. When it comes to Chris Brown, I got to call myself out on being a hypocrite. Not because I beat women, but because I don't do that. But as a society, we love James Brown. We love Rick James. Rick James held a woman against her will and tied her up and burned her with a crack pipe for a whole day. And we love him. Motherfucking James Brown beat women, went to jail for it, and we love him. So are we going to hold Chris Brown to the worst thing he's ever done forever? Because objectively speaking, we didn't do it with other people.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think for me, the reason why I don't really say anything, at least on the podcast, about most of these people is because like sometimes I'm in spaces where they're
100%.
So I don't really try.
This nigga Keith been in the room with Diddy, literally.
Yeah,
y'all don't know that. Y'all don't know that Keith literally has visual evidence. This nigga was in the studio with Diddy.
Yeah,
I have not. So I'll be a little loose lipped.
Yeah. So I just try not to because I'm not gonna say something on a podcast that I wouldn't be saying to these people. And like Eddie was saying, like I've been in a room with him. So and I'm actually like, I'm going to say not necessarily a fan, but I admire his work. Like when I seen him in the studio, and not that I listened to like all the bad boy music, but when I seen him in the studio, I was like, oh dang, this is what it looks like, like the upper echelon of like music. This is what it sounds like to be in the studio with these type of people. So, it was something to like to cherish in that sense. But yeah, like even with Chris Brown, I don't really have an opinion on him and his personal life, and obviously like the domestic violence thing is not something that I would condone in any way, shape, or form. But I don't like one of my best friends like directed a music video for him. So I think I probably would have been able to be at the shoot, but I don't know, something like scheduling conflict or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so I tend, and I'm also like, I'm a director and a filmmaker. So, I want to work with certain people, and I know that people have even Jamie Foxx, he has a sexual assault allegation
that just came out of nowhere.
Right? Yeah. So, and I'm a huge fan of Jamie Foxx, and I would love to work with him in some capacity. So I'm not going to get on here, especially when it's just like allegations and there's no hard evidence for certain things,
Well, I would say this though. I would say this because, and my thing is that if there's just so much evidence out there where that like this person is just, they have to be guilty of some of this shit.
Yeah.
Here's where I draw. If I'm Keith, this is where I draw my line in the sand, is where I'm not going to say anything to defame anyone's character because obviously I don't know everything. However, I don't want to destroy other relationships of people I want to work with that know him.
Yeah.
That's where it goes. Mm-hmm. So that's my thing. If I'm Keith, that's how I'm thinking. But I'm Eddie, so I don't care. Truth be told, if I just don't have any, I'm going to keep this stance as I move forward. But my thing is more or less, I would just keep my distance. And I'll be very calculated on what I choose to speak on and when I don't. Mm-hmm. And that's just going to be my stance. If it's more like, man, this nigga, I'm not going to be, what's his name, DJ Academics. That's not my thing. We talk about topics on this podcast. Mm-hmm. And before I start to, I don't really assassinate people's character. I will look at them objectively and say, hey, they done this, and this. Like even when we talk about Jada Pinkett or whatever the case, I just take like all the list of things that I've seen that I'll be like, yo, this has to be something. Man, like a gust of cold air came in here. You felt that? Mm-mm. My goodness, it's getting cool outside.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
I forgot my jacket in the car.
No, it's not a good
Anyways. Yeah, man. I don't know how much else we got on that or what we got on there with Diddy, but
yeah, I think Melissa Barrera. Yeah, I don't know. If like I said, if you're willing to die on this hill, then good for you. I think that at the end of the day, we're entertainers. So if you got to really look at a guy like Colin Kaepernick in 30, 40 years from now. As long as he can say that it was worth it, then that's just his stance, and that's what he has to live with. So same thing with Melissa Barrera. Mm-hmm. If 30, 40 years from now, when you're a little older and you're not as attractive as you used to be, and the bags under the eyes and all that stuff, and you missed out on that grand opportunity to be like an A-list actor, and you're okay with, the comment that you made, then, that's if you can live with that, then great. But if not, then you just gotta be quiet.
You don't got that fuck you money yet.
Yeah.
Before you want to be, and the thing about it, before you notice that some of like these actors that are, they're like activists, so they'll post like, peace to Israel or peace or this or that. They got fuck you money. They get on there on Instagram, whether it's like what's her name, Nicole Aniston or whatever, and all these other people like that, they got fuck you money, bro. Mm-hmm. They can have an opinion. Mm-hmm. But when they like
Jennifer Aniston,
my bad, I said Nicole Aniston. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jennifer Aniston, people like that, like they got fuck you money. They was making millions back when Friends was on.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? So they can come out with these Alyssa Milano and all these people like that.
Yeah.
They got a lot of money. But when you a person that's new, like you trying to come up, you just focus on that. Have the conversations with your friends over the phone, like this ain't right, blah, blah, blah. But don't feel like stop letting social media tell you that I should say something. Yeah. I should use my platform. Your platform is not going to stop them people from slaughtering each other over there.
Yeah.
So if it's not going to stop it, just pray for those people and move on with your life.
One thing we have to realize too is that we are getting a filtered version of whatever is going on over there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And you could, if you ever talk to, even if we want to make an analogy about Bakersfield, right? Bakersfield is the murder capital of California. If somebody in New York were to see that Gavin Newsom little press conference that he did talking about Kern County, you would think we doing a podcast and there's bullets flying through the window while we talking.
This is fucking Gaza over here.
yeah. So I think that so that's my thing. Whatever's going on over there, by the time it gets to America and your social media and your Instagram and your YouTube algorithms or whatever, it's a filtered version of what's actually going on. And that's the only thing that we know. So I just say that to say, like, it's great to have an opinion. It's great to, to love people enough to want to support them and, to value human life enough to want to say something about it. But at the end of the day, we all have somebody that we answer to, and there's an account, we have to, and somebody is going to hold us, to account for the things that we say. So you just got to be able to live with that.
Yep. All right, let's switch gears. Switching gears. Dana White demands Peloton bikes removed from UFC gym over past conflict with comedian Theo Von. I'll make this very quick, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Fighters will no longer be biking on Pelotons when visiting UFC Performance Institute. UFC CEO Dana White demanded all of the exercise equipment made by New York-based company removed from his gyms after comedian Theo Von told him that Peloton demanded the past episode of his podcast had to be removed. According to Von, Peloton was a sponsor for his show, and he was told to take down an interview he posted with presidential candidate Robert Kennedy Jr., which resulted in White House slamming the company which resulted in White slamming the company along with CEO Barry McCarthy. So basically, this is what happened. He had a conversation with Robert Kennedy Jr., and Peloton wanted it removed because Robert Kennedy Jr. was on there. So whatever issue they had or the CEO had with Robert Kennedy, he thought that because he did a paid ad on Theo Von's podcast that he could determine where the money, basically him paying for an ad made him feel like he could determine where his content can be or not be. Mm-hmm. Just because you pay for an ad doesn't mean you control my content. Fuck you. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that these podcast advertisements need to understand. If you don't like what's being said, that's life, buddy. There's going to be a lot of things you don't like being said, not just on podcasts, but in everyday life. Get over it, motherfucker. Mm-hmm. If you're going to pay me, you're going to pay me because I'm getting a lot of attention, and it's going to bring eyes to your content. It's going to bring eyes to whatever you're selling.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if I'm a bottom tier podcaster and we're on the come up, you're only going to get so many eyes on your product. But if I'm Theo Von and I got millions of people listening to my shit, and you want to pay me whatever it is, $75,000, $85,000, you can't make me take down a podcast because fucking Kennedy's on it. Mm-hmm. You know what it was, right? They basically are saying we don't want Robert Kennedy and our product being remotely synonymous with each other. Mm-hmm. We don't want you to think that we support or campaign or support his campaign in any capacity. Mm-hmm. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Peloton is thinking from a business aspect, but also from a personal one. The CEO does not like Robert Kennedy. And it's like, dude, I don't give a fuck, bro. Listen, if Donald Trump was doing a podcast and Trucker's Mind podcast was we paid for an ad on another podcast. So you could do that. It's some podcasts that get promoted by other podcasts.
Yeah.
Let's say me and Keith paid, I don't know, $2,500, and we paid, I don't know, Joe Rogan, which he's not going to accept that. Joe Rogan probably be getting $8,000-$9,000 per fucking ad or something. Mm-hmm. But let's just say it's Joe Rogan, and on there he has Donald Trump, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think I give a fuck that Donald Trump is on the podcast? Mm-hmm. Like, the product that we have stands individually by itself. It doesn't mean that we're promoting or pushing for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
It's just sad that motherfuckers that just because they throw you some money, they think they can tell you what to do with your podcast. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. I think that this has kind of been a theme throughout this podcast. Like, just shut up. But think that Michael Jordan said, something that relates to these past couple topics. And one of the things he said, when they were asking him about, supporting different people and presidents and stuff, he said, Republicans buy my shoes too. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you're the CEO of a company, you don't want to do anything to alienate a group of people. And that's where I think these new business owners, like, they have low EQs, and they're letting their politics get in the way of selling a bike. And I don't know how this is going to affect their bottom line, but to have the owner of UFC basically take all of your bikes out of his gyms, that's a big deal. And all you had to do was just not say nothing. I think that's the biggest thing. So, kind of going back to what I was saying in the last conversation, it's like we can have our opinions about things. It's just not for the world to know your opinion about every little thing, man. Like, imagine I don't, like I said, we don't know how it will affect the sales of the bikes and stuff like that. But if you were, you're on the up and up, the Peloton bike and all the UFC spots, you getting these crazy ads. You're on Joe Rogan, you're on Theo, you're on all these different platforms, and people is buying and buying and buying, and your sales is going up quarterly. And then you go public and your stock is doing amazing and all this stuff. And the only thing you had to do was just not say nothing for your product to continue to sell. Some people, they just get in their own way. This CEO, I don't know his name, but he would much rather not be affiliated with a Robert Kennedy. Is it Robert Kennedy Jr.?
Yeah.
Not be affiliated with Robert Kennedy Jr. Than make money. And that's like what it really boils down to. He would rather not be affiliated with something and lose millions of dollars than be affiliated with somebody and keep earning his money. And the crazy part about it is it doesn't mean that you support him. Just because your podcast, just because your bike is getting promoted on a podcast with him on there, it doesn't mean that you support him. It just means you're doing good business.
Yeah, we'll take you. We'll take you, Peloton. Come on over here to Trucker's Mind Podcast. We'll take you for sure.
Until you start to try to say what we can and cannot say.
Yeah, I'm the type of guy that'd be like, Peloton, great bike, great stationary bike. It has 12 modes. You can take this thing anywhere you want to go. Sign in at 5 a.m. for these many classes at this time. Go to Peloton.com, blah, 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 blah. But as soon as they want to tell me what to do, hey, remember what I said about Peloton? Fuck them. Yeah, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. No, stop it. And stop abusing these podcasters for wanting to have who they want to have on there. That's insane. But yeah, man.
And I think they get to pick and choose, right? Because if the Super Bowl pops on and they got a Super Bowl commercial, they not saying because whatever if it's Jerry Jones or whatever super conservative owner of a football team is on there, they not pulling their ads because of that. It's like, don't pick and choose when you want to have these political stances, because then you start to look like a hypocrite. Just understand it's business, man. That's at the end of the day, it's just business.
Yep. I'll say this before we, wrap this thing up. I think, as you can see, Keith has, independently of himself, what he chooses to weigh in on or not say or whatever the case. And that's a great display of control, right? We are independent of each other. If I say something, it's not because it's the absence of thought. It's because it's kind of predetermined what I'm going to speak on and what I'm not going to. There's so many things we want to say. Like even the Diddy stuff, I clearly spoke and said those things allegedly, right? And it's all based on the documents, right? But beyond that, I won't share anything because you may think that, there's a lot of people that don't know about this podcast yet, right? But at the same time, you can't underestimate like the virality or how things will happen. And all of a sudden, people are going through your podcast episodes.
Yeah.
And then that shit reaches the wrong person. And all of a sudden, I genuinely believe that a guy like P. Diddy could squash us if he wanted to.
Yeah.
I think that if we try to get any ads, they could be blocked. This guy is huge in media. He's got all kinds of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid of it, but at the same time, that's a reality. Remember 50 Cent was an artist. He pushed the album back. I forgot who it was. Remember? 50 Cent had the power to push people's albums back. It was a dude that said he wanted to release, but 50 stopped it from happening.
Dang.
I'm like, God damn.
That's what it looked like, man.
Yeah.
So, why make it harder on yourself? That's the same, like same thing going back to Melissa. Like, why make it harder on yourself? You out here trying to make it just like anybody else coming off the back of a SAG strike and a writing strike. It's like, shoot, I don't know. Good luck. She's a good actor though, so I think she'll be all right. But it's only those franchises only come around so often.
Better go to Tubi.
Yeah.
Just get something out there. I don't know what. Just get something out there.
I might have a role for her.
Hey.
Come over to K Fing's Productions.
Where's she from?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh. That'd be dope if she was local though.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
was like Los Angeles type.
Probably so. I don't know if we could look it up, but like like I said, I seen her at a film festival, so it was a smaller production. So I'm sure she's willing to do those little indie projects and stuff like that.
Yeah, it'd be hella dope, man.
Yeah.
See, you can't underestimate people.
She's from Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico.
Oh, okay. That's still pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Not as far as people. I'm sure she's within
She probably live in L.A.
Yeah, that's down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get out of here, man. We appreciate you guys, man. If you made it to the end of this podcast, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fings.
We're out of here.
Peace.